You're listening to the Life Coaching Secrets Podcast, episode 228. Did you know that life coaches are needed now more than ever? I'm Frank Macri, founder of Thriving Coach Academy. I've trained over 1,000 coaches and helped them launch their own successful coaching businesses. If you want to make an incredible income and impact as a coach and have a lot of fun doing it, I'll show you exactly how to get it done. This is Life Coaching Secrets. What's up, coaches? In this episode, I'm going to share one of the most important yet often overlooked quality that you must have if you want to be successful. I mean successful as a coach, but also successful in your life. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever scrolled through social media and you saw somebody that was absolutely crushing it in their life and you felt a little twinge of envy? Be honest. Has that ever happened to you? Or maybe your first thought was, oh, that must be nice. They probably had some connections or some support, or they're so lucky. We've all been there. But what if I told you that your reaction to other people's success is one of the biggest indicators of whether you'll achieve success yourself? Because here is the truth. When you admire success, you attract it. But when you resent success, you push it away. It is very tempting to look at someone else's success and feel envy, skepticism, and even some judgment. We often tell ourselves that those people must be so lucky. Maybe they have certain advantages that you don't. Or maybe their success somehow takes away your ability to become successful. But having this mindset quietly keeps so many people small. So in this episode, I'm going to unpack why when you genuinely admire other people's success, that is one of the fastest ways to create your own. Okay, I'm going to go into why many people struggle to genuinely celebrate the wins of others, but how tearing other people down only holds you back. I truly think it is one of the ugliest qualities that I see in people when they feel the need to be skeptical of others' success or tear successful people down. It is not just unattractive, it's self-sabotaging. Right? When somebody constantly looks for reasons why another person doesn't deserve their achievements, whether it's nitpicking or gossiping about them or accusing them of cheating their way to the top, it reveals more about the critic than the person that they're criticizing. It shows their insecurity, their own fears. Because think about it. Truly ambitious, fulfilled, and successful people, they don't waste their time and energy dragging other people down. They're too focused on creating and building, on serving, and just becoming better versions of themselves. So this energy that people use to tear others down, it only keeps you powerless. And the real tragedy is that if you can't stand to see someone else win, how can you expect to welcome big wins for yourself, right? You can't despise the mountain climber and also dream of reaching the summit yourself. So every time you criticize or doubt another person's success, you reinforce this belief that success is something that's shameful, fraudulent, or even undeserved. And if that's the story you're telling yourself, why would your brain ever let you experience success without guilt or fear? Now, I want you to make this real for you before I go even deeper. I want you to think about a successful person. Maybe they're in your social circle, or maybe they are a celebrity or famous or very public figure, someone that is successful that you judge, that you have lots of negative thoughts and opinions about. And I want you to think about that person or those people as we go through this episode. Now, I once heard a quote that stuck with me, and the quote is, "Everybody loves you until you start doing better than them." Have you ever heard that quote before? Or another version of this is the quote, "Most people want you to succeed, just not more than them." Now, this exposes a very real and a very human psychological barrier that people have. A lot of people say they want others to succeed, and they'll cheer them on when they're going through their hustle and their struggle, or they're still on the same level. as the person that's cheering them on. But the moment they rise above and they get that big promotion or make more money or find their dream partner, suddenly the support just gets quiet. That admiration they had starts turning into some envy, and then comparison creeps in, and sometimes even resentment. Now, why does this happen? It happens because their success holds up a mirror. It challenges your own sense of status and self-worth. Right? If they can do it, it forces you to confront why you haven't done it. And that is an uncomfortable feeling. So instead of feeling inspired by their success, so many people feel threatened when they see other people succeed. And this is why a lot of people also struggle when it comes to achieving their own goals. It's not that they hate seeing others win. It really is deep down that it's shaking their identity and it's making them question their own choices, their own pace that they're going at, and even their own potential. And if you don't know how to process that discomfort, you protect yourself by minimizing that other person's success or just resenting that person who is succeeding in life. Now, I've been an entrepreneur for over a decade, and I didn't have success overnight. I went through a hustle period. I struggled a lot in the very beginning. I vulnerably shared in many of these episodes some of the lessons that I've learned. And it's very interesting because even though now I've been able to have amazing success in my business and make millions as a coach, which is sometimes still crazy to say out loud because I know where I started and how much I had to overcome about the rules I had about myself to get where I'm at now. But it's so interesting that being at where I'm in the stage of my business and life I'm at now, one of the qualities that I realize has helped me in becoming successful has been my curiosity, right? Curiosity, as opposed to being judgmental and closed off. When I've met, and still to this day, when I meet people who are inspiring, who seem very fulfilled, who've achieved amazing things in their life, who have extraordinary results, I don't silently judge them or shrink back. I lean in, I get excited, I ask them questions. I follow those people online. I want to know what's going on in their head, how they were able to achieve their results. And I am genuinely happy for them. I love seeing what I can learn from them. I get very excited when I meet someone that is successful. It's interesting, sometimes on social media, if someone is sharing ideas and then at the end they might say that they have a course or they'll actually teach people how to also achieve that success, I think that is brilliant and amazing, but there'll always be some people in the comments like, oh, look, another person that's trying to sell a course. Whereas what I think is how incredible that person is wanting to share their success with others and teach others how to also achieve that success. Like how amazing if you can just be curious and lean in and not try to tear them down, you might actually learn something that could benefit you. Now, what's interesting is that I've noticed that when I meet people and I talk about my life, my business, my successes, it's interesting. They will show some mild interest. And this is not for everybody, but I've noticed it like way more. I'll just say the vast majority of people that I've met in person, they will get to know me and they'll say, oh, that's really awesome. You have a successful business. They'll learn about coaching or whatever, show like a little bit of interest. And then they'll go to talk about how they really don't love their jobs. They're unfulfilled and they feel like they are just so stuck in the 9-to-5 world. And I'll mention how, running my own coaching business has allowed me so much freedom in my life. And they'll just say, oh, that's cool. And they'll go back to complaining about their circumstances. It's like sitting right at a buffet and whining about being hungry while ignoring the plates piled high with food right in front of you. The answer is right in front of your face. All you have to do is get curious, open your eyes. So rather than asking, how did you do it? What can I learn from you? A lot of people just pull back. Some even get a little bit distant. And this is not a dig at anybody. It's just for a lot of people, it's their nature. It's their defense mechanism. If you don't understand how someone achieves something and you're not willing to get curious about it, the brain just fills in the blanks with stories like, oh, they must have gotten really lucky, or that's not really possible for me. But that mindset is exactly what keeps people stuck, right? So I've noticed over time when people hear about my success, how they could get very closed off. But when I hear about other people's success, it's like instantaneously, I want to ask them questions. I want to understand them even more. Admiring other people's success is an underrated skill. And by having this skill, it will have such a massive impact on your own success in your life, and especially with your coaching and entrepreneurial goals that you have. I want to share some reasons why admiring success is so important. Firstly, success leaves cues. Success leaves clues. When you admire someone else's success, you actually get a little peek into their mindset and their habits. Instead of just seeing their achievements as unattainable, you can actually study that person and apply what worked for them. It also expands your possibilities. When you see what's possible for others, that allows you to believe it's possible for yourself. It actually starts to rewire your brain to be open to new levels of achievement. It also attracts the right energy, because if you resent success, you push away success. But when you admire it, you align yourself with the frequency of success. Right? People who appreciate success tend to become successful people. It also shifts you from a scarcity mindset to a more abundance mindset. A lot of people struggle with success because they think there's a very limited amount of money and opportunities to go around. But when you admire success, it helps you realize that there's more than enough for everyone. Now, a lot of people struggle to admire success because they see other people's success as a reflection of their own shortcomings instead of seeing it as inspiration. They don't see it as inspiration. They just see it as, oh, this person is just showing me what I lack. So instead of thinking, wow, okay, that person's success is amazing and that's possible for me too, they think, oh, there must be something wrong with me. Why am I not there yet? Or there must be something that person just had, a privilege they had that they benefited from. They just got lucky. Like the path was just laid out for them. So it really is, when you see someone else's success, it doesn't just represent that other person's achievements. It's also a often painful reminder of what your insecurities are, opportunities you're missing, or even your unfulfilled potential. So when someone close to you reaches a milestone, whether it's making more money or getting fit or achieving a dream, it might trigger this comparison mode between you and someone else. And think about how you might compare yourself to other people right now. Instead of celebrating their win, you might subconsciously measure yourself against them and feel like maybe you're falling short. Now, people love to say that you shouldn't compare yourself to others. And sure, if comparison only leaves you feeling small, then it is not helpful. But sometimes you should compare yourself, because seeing what's possible for someone else can wake you up to what's possible for you. I'll say that one more time. Sometimes you should compare yourself to others, because when you see what's possible for someone else, it can wake you up to what's possible for you. Comparison does not have to mean envy. It can actually mean evidence. Evidence that your dreams aren't crazy. Evidence that your goals aren't out of reach. And that if it's been done before, you can find your way to do it too. Right? Like maybe, for example, you and a friend started your careers at the same time. And then 5 or 10 years later, they're really thriving in their career and you might feel stuck and stagnant. Instead of feeling happy for them, you might feel like their success somehow diminishes you. But it doesn't. Their journey has nothing to do with yours. Right? There's this myth of feeling like life is a race and that if someone's ahead, it means that you're behind. That there's just one single track with a single finish line. But really, success is an individual journey. So instead of thinking that person is ahead of me, you can think that person is showing me what's possible. Right? When someone succeeds, it doesn't take away your ability to succeed, but insecurity can make it feel that way. You might think, maybe I don't really have what it takes, or if they're succeeding and I'm not, I might just not be good enough. Or I've been doing this longer, why am I not there yet? But none of those thoughts are actually true. Success is not linear, and everyone's journey unfolds differently. Okay, if someone else's achievements makes you feel inadequate, that is not about them. That's about your own self-perception. So instead of thinking that someone's success is proof of what's missing in you, see it as proof of what's actually possible, right? Instead of why not me, think if they can do it, so can I. Now, I often hear people dismiss someone else's success by saying, well, of course that person is successful. They're just so privileged. People love to sometimes use this word privilege. And let's be real, privilege exists, right? We're all not dealt the same cards in life. But here is the thing. Using that as an explanation for why someone else succeeded does nothing to move your own life forward. Right? There are people who started with objectively worse circumstances than you and went on to create incredible success. And there are also people with every imaginable advantage who never reach their potential. So playing a game of who has the least privilege or who has the most privilege, just stacking the reasons why the odds are against you, doesn't get you anywhere. You cannot change the cards that you are dealt, but you can absolutely change how you play the hand. That is one of my favorite quotes because it captures the truth. You can spend your energy resenting other people's hands, or you can learn how to play yours like a master. Right? And when you admire others that are successful and you stay curious about those that are really winning in life, even if they had a different starting point than you, you're not denying privilege. You're simply saying, there's something in how they played their hand that I can learn from. That's where growth is born. Right? Even when someone has advantages, they still have to do something with those advantages. They still need to have skills and discipline and persistence. All of that is required no matter where someone starts. Right? For example, two people can inherit wealth. One of those people can invest and build a thriving business with that. The other could waste it on reckless spending. So privilege is not going to determine the outcome. It's the decisions you make with your circumstances and with your, quote, privileges. And I've done a lot of research into this. And one interesting statistic I found was that according to the National Study of Millionaires, 79% of millionaires in the United States received no inheritance at all, right? They didn't have that privilege, 79%. So when you really fixate on someone else's advantages, you put yourself in a powerless position and you start to tell yourself, well, I can't succeed because I don't have what they had. And this keeps you from realizing how you can use your own creativity and really take ownership of your path in life. So instead of dwelling on what other people have that you don't have, ask yourself, what can I learn from this person's journey? What strategies did they use that I can apply? What decisions did they make that I could make? How can I leverage my own strengths given my circumstances? Right? Even if someone built a multi-million-dollar business with family money, instead of resenting that, study how they scaled the business to that point. What did they choose to do? What marketing strategies did they use? Learning from other people's success is way more valuable and a way better use of your time than resenting it. Right? I love meeting successful people from all different walks of life. I love hearing their stories. I just love seeing people win in life. It also amazes me how so many people will make it their mission to pick apart the most successful or wealthy individuals in our society, just digging for their flaws or trying to expose every possible reason why that person doesn't deserve what they had. And I totally get it. It is a lot easier to criticize than to face the uncomfortable truth that that person is playing the same game of life that we all are, yet they are achieving results on a completely different level. Right? Admitting that forces all of us to look inward and ask those hard questions. Like, what choices have I been making in my life? What can I choose to do differently? Where am I holding myself back? The thing is, when you spend your energy dissecting other people's wins and tearing it down, it doesn't bring you any closer to your own wins. Right? Skepticism will not build your dreams. Envy will not grow your skills. And tearing down someone else's success doesn't really make them any less successful. It only holds you back. right? All this energy that you might spend criticizing how other people use their money, because this is also a big part of it too. It's just, okay, these people are successful, but maybe it's hard for you to criticize how they became successful. But then what a lot of people like to do is criticize how much that person might make or how they might spend their money. It's also a waste of your energy to criticize how people spend their money. All that energy that you might put in criticizing how much money someone makes or how they spend their money, you could pour that energy into creating value for others, into starting your own business and making your own money, right? So you get to decide how you want to use your energy. And the cool thing is that when you put your energy into creating value and starting a business and making your own money, you get to decide how you want to spend your money. And that's real power. Not tearing others down, but building yourself up and creating the change that you want to see. Some extended acquaintances and just people that I have in my network over the years, not really like close people to me. Sometimes I'll notice what they will share online day in and day out, and it's always just criticizing successful people and trying to tear them down. And I just think, wow, all that energy that's put trying to find this information, whether it's true or not, could be put into them creating their own value in the world and serving people, making their own money. Because when you're enjoying your life and you're serving people and you're making your own money, you are so fulfilled with that you don't even need to put your energy on trying to tear other people's successful down. Successful people are busy being successful and enjoying that they don't need to put energy on trying to tear other people down. And it's been really great over the years of building up my own success and making lots of money through all the different coaching businesses I've had, because one of the things I've loved about that is I've been able to pour a lot of money into charities and initiatives that I really am passionate about, because I focused on creating my own wealth instead of criticizing those who had it. So the people who actually have extraordinary success, they're not wasting their time tearing other people down. I really want you to understand that ambitious, driven people are too focused on becoming the best versions of themselves. And if you just redirected all your energy that you might be spending doubting others, criticizing others, resenting others into your own growth, your own learning, and your own curiosity, you would be shocked at how much closer you would be to becoming your own success story. Right? If you tear down successful people, I want you to understand that you're sending a message to your subconscious, and you're sending the message that success is bad. Right? Every time you criticize or even minimize someone else's success, your brain starts to make an association. It starts to think, oh, well, if I become successful, people might resent me too. Or success means that I'm going to be judged and torn down. Or maybe I should just stay small to avoid criticism from others. So over time of making this a habit, you start to unconsciously sabotage your own growth, because deep down, you don't want to become the very thing that you've been tearing down. Meanwhile, all those people that you might be criticizing, they're still successful. They're still making money. They're still building their dreams. They're achieving their goals. So your resentment doesn't affect them. It just keeps you stuck. So the people who tear down others usually do it out of their own insecurity, right? Remember that. But by focusing so much on someone else's success, they actually become the person they fear, very bitter and stuck and full of excuses. While the person they're criticizing is successful and growing, enjoying their life, while just the critics stay exactly where they are. So I want to give you some thoughts that I encourage you to try on about successful people. I want you to have positive, wonderful thoughts about successful people if you ever plan to become one yourself. So instead of thinking, oh, that person got lucky, you might instead try on the thought, that person found a way to create opportunities, and I can learn how to do that too. Instead of thinking, oh, it must be nice to have all that privilege, you can think, everyone has different cards to play. I can learn how to master mine. Instead of thinking they don't deserve that success, you can think, I wonder what skills and mindset helped them get there. Instead of thinking, oh, that person probably cut corners or did something shady to become successful, you can think, let me stay curious about what actually helps them achieve this. It might just teach me something. Instead of thinking that people like that are way out of your league, you can think, if someone else has done it, it is so possible for me too. If you're thinking that person just has all these great connections I'll never have, you can think, I can build my own network and relationships over time too. Right? And also, one sneaky thought that might happen is you think they must have sacrificed everything else to become successful. You can instead try on the thought, there are many paths to success. I can design mine in a way that feels good to me. Now, sometimes we have these thoughts about people and all their wealth and all the money that they make. But I really want you to remember that if you carry negative thoughts about successful people or people with money, you're going to subconsciously prevent you from having a lot of money and having a lot of success if you associate those things as negative, right? Your brain's going to say, if I become wealthy, I might turn into some of those people that have a lot of money that I really dislike. And your brain doesn't want to associate with that. But really, money doesn't fundamentally change who you are. It just magnifies who you already are. So if you're already a generous and kind and giving person, more money just amplifies your opportunity to give more. A kind leader with wealth can create more opportunities for others. So wealth will amplify your value. It will not erase it. So if you catch yourself judging or resenting wealthy people, just pause and ask yourself, what is the story that you're telling yourself about wealth? Right? Would you want to become the type of person that you're imagining? And how could you rewrite that story to really see wealth as something good, something empowering, and something also aligned with your character? When you can admire wealth and those who've created it by getting curious about their mindset and their habits and their decisions, you start to align yourself with it instead of resisting it. You're going to invite it in. Right? So instead of resenting someone else's progress, study how they got there. Every second that you might spend on jealousy could be used to build your own success. So think about like that metaphor of if you see someone at the top of the mountain and the first instinct is to say, oh, they probably took a shortcut to get there, or I bet they had a guide. You're still at the bottom while they're enjoying the view at the top. So instead you could be asking, how did they climb up? What can I learn from them? Right? Use all of that energy into fuel. Think, what can I learn from the way this person thinks and acts? How can I use their success as evidence of what's possible for me? When you do this, your whole energy lifts. You become a magnet for opportunity. And you start taking bolder and smarter actions that align with the success that you actually want. So as I wrap this up, I want to say a few final words. Resentment keeps you small. Admiration expands you. And I want you to think about the person that came to mind in the beginning of this episode that you resent or you judge as successful, wealthy individual or type of person. I want you to really challenge yourself to think, what can you admire about that person? And that's going to be tricky. That's going to be tricky to do, but it's for your benefit. Remember, your judgment is not affecting that person. It's only affecting you, right? Every minute you spend questioning someone else's worthiness could be spent building your own. Because at the end of the day, resentment won't make someone else less successful, but it will make you more powerful. When you can admire others and study how they think, how they move, how they grow, you unlock doors within yourself. You create an identity that's ready for success instead of resisting it. You stop seeing someone else's win as a threat and start seeing it as evidence that your win, it is just on the way. So the next time you feel envy creeping in, ask yourself, what if this is just the universe showing you what's possible? What if this is your preview, not your punishment? I want you to choose admiration over resentment, curiosity over judgment. Okay, this is the one overlooked quality that will help you become so successful. I want you to celebrate those that are successful, and that is how you truly will rise. Okay, that's what I got in this episode. Before you go, I'm going to include a snippet from an interview that I had with one of our coaches inside Thriving Coach Academy. They're going to share their story about how they got into coaching and also give you some tips for how you can thrive as a coach as well. So enjoy their story, and I will see you in the next episode.
My name is Zaramasa Oka, and I am a student of Thriving Coach Academy. The moment that I discovered coaching, I was sort of at a crossroads in my life. I was feeling really stuck. I was very unfulfilled and I was very burnt out. Nothing I was doing was making an impact. I didn't feel valued by my employers. And then that was bleeding into my personal life. It just felt like something was really missing. It felt like my life didn't have a lot of direction. And I just started wondering, like, what's another option? Like, what else is out there? And so I started doing all this research online, and that's how I found coaching. I looked at a lot of different academies, and the business aspect definitely caught my eye because business related things for me historically have felt very overwhelming to even think about. So knowing that I was going to have support and lifetime support at that was really, really reassuring to me that I would want to invest in a program like this. I also saw Frank's like coaching 101 video, and I watched that, and just seeing Frank and his energy and his actual face and like a person talking to me was really reassuring because it gave me the feeling like, okay, I can get the sense of this person and they seem real and genuine, and the energy drew me in. Money was definitely a fear for me. I had never invested that amount of money in myself before, and that felt scary. I also was just going through a really hard time at the point before I decided to enroll. I felt like my life circumstances were really difficult. So I had these thoughts of, is this the right time? Should I wait until, my life feels more settled? My biggest win so far is I have my first paying client, and I've only been in the program for a few months. And initially I thought, oh, I'll be in the program for a year. I'll kind of take my time. And I just can't believe like how quickly I was able to feel like I'm ready to open up possibilities for clients to come my way. And the fact that I'm already doing the work and impacting people's lives is really mind blowing to me that it happened in this amount of time. My confidence has just gotten to a level that I was nowhere near at before I joined the academy. The power of like investing in myself and deciding like, I'm going to do this for me. This is what I want to do. And I'm just going to go for it. Even that, and then being in a community where I'm being supported and encouraged has changed me as a person. For the first time in my life, I'm stepping into this full version of me that I've been like waiting to experience and have been like waiting and feeling stuck and like, when's this going to happen? And I feel like it's happening right now, which is so exciting and so valuable for me. Frank and other instructors always say this, like whenever you're having doubts and whenever you're having struggles, come back to the community because you're going to come back to love. Doing something new and putting yourself out there, it can be scary. And coming back to this community and sharing a win or sharing a fear and being met with so much love and encouragement has been like a critical part of me doing well and like feeling confident. And something else I really like is just how robust the curriculum is and the structure of the program. It's set up in this really well-balanced way where if you want to do it self-paced and really take your time, it's so easy to do that because it cycles through, like there's just so much flexibility. But if you're someone like me who sort of wanted to do it a little bit quicker paced, the program is set up so that you're able to keep this momentum really easily. The advice I would give to a new student at TCA to really become successful is lean in, really show up and participate with the community. That's what's going to give you the most value. TCA will be there to support you for all the mess ups and all the moments that feel awkward. While you're in the program, you have the opportunity to get coached a lot by your peers and even by the mentors in TCA. And I was able to get coached on things in my life that I've been dealing with for a long time. I just have been so mind blown by the coaching process and the way it can take you through all of these things in a way that I never experienced before. You're not just in the academy learning how to help others, learning how to coach others. You get to receive and experience the impact of coaching. And that's doesn't only make you a better coach, it actually helps you in your life. You get to really receive real quality support. And that is really cool. If you are someone who's considering the program and you're feeling hesitant, I say just do it. Think of it as an investment in yourself, and it really is. When I was making the decision to enroll in the academy, I remember thinking to myself, like, in a year from now, am I still going to be wondering about coaching? If you have hard circumstances in your life, step into the belief that even with your circumstances, you can still do this for yourself. This is really an investment in yourself, and you will not regret it. I would go back and choose enrolling in the academy every single time if I could.
Hey, would you like access to powerful coaching tools you can use on yourself and clients right away? For being a listener of the podcast, I'm giving you a VIP guest pass to get a sneak peek into my coach training program. Inside, you'll learn our coaches' secret tool they use to transform their clients' lives. And you'll also get a training on how to launch a coaching business. Just head over to www.thrivingcoachacademy.com/VIP to get started. I'll see you on the inside.